According to Sandstock, a reinforcement is a reward. It is a consequence that increases the probability that a behavior will occur. And this can be a positive and negative reinforcement. The positive reinforcement can be defined as the frequency of a response increases because it is followed by a rewarding stimulus. An example of this would be a teacher's positive comments increases the student's writing behavior because you give them a positive reward for a positive behavior. A negative reinforcement is the frequency of a response increases because it is followed by the removal of a aversive, unpleasant stimulus. An example of this is a father nagging at his son or daughter to do his homework. If that son does the homework, then the father will remove the nagging, which is an example of negative reinforcement.
Some examples of positive consequences are praise and rewards given. Examples of negative non-physical consequences are timeout and removal of privileges. Examples of verbal discipline are lecturing and shouting. The purpose of administering a consequence is to stop the problematic behavior. Some of the most common disruptive behaviors in the classroom are talking out of turn, disobedience, and idleness. Most of my students are already intrinsically motivated to do well in German. After all, they chose to take German over Spanish and French. Of course, a teacher never stops learning about classroom management, but I will say that it is always easier to manage a group of engaged students rather than bored students. Yes, the worst offenders are in my sophomore classes. Someone else teaches the freshmen. When students come to high school, they are rowdy and impressionable. They will always bring up pop culture, and it can be hard to get them to focus sometimes. But the students who do want to learn will often ask the misbehaving students. This self-regulation really helps me out. Of course, by the time they are seniors, they have little issue behaving. I do not have a bag of candy on standby to reward my students, but I will do fun activities from time to time. In fact, we'll be making hand turkeys this week before the students leave for break. My students like to be active, so I give them a lot of opportunity to be creative in their work. Sometimes I let them draw, and other times I give a group project. As for punishment, I usually follow the school's guidelines, but I have not had much issues with any of that. Just have fun. I have never wanted to be a strict teacher or anything like that, so I try to make it as interesting for them as possible. I like to keep my students interested, so I will often use online resources like Kahoot and Quizlet. There is no shortage of good online resources for both students and teachers, so always be on the lookout. I do like to have fun in my classroom, but there are also times when I have to be real with my students. Be honest and upfront with your students. If they know what is going on, they will be more likely to behave, at least in my experience.